now trying to argue in court that protecting child raping priests from prosecution and that shuffling them from diocese to diocese so that they can continue raping children in new dioceses and be hidden from view, that they are arguing in court that this is a constitutionally protected form of free religious expression. Yeah, no shit. I'm angry about 9/11. And I'm angry that after 9/11 happened, people of Middle Eastern descent were attacked and their businesses were vandalized because they were Muslims. Or because people assumed they were Muslims even if they weren't, and they blamed all Muslims for the attacks. And I'm angry that Jerry Falwell blamed 9/11 on, let me see if I have this list right, pagans, abortionists, feminists, gays and lesbians, the ACLU, and the people for the American way. That's all of us, right? I'm angry that this theology of a wrathful God exacting revenge against pagans and abortionists by sending radical Muslims to blow up a building full of secretaries and investment bankers. I'm angry that this was a theology. This is not an extremist theology. This is not a wingnut fringe theology. This was a theology held by a powerful, widely respected religious leader with millions of followers. I'm angry that the Bamyan Buddha statues in Afghanistan, magnificent, monumental works of art over 1,500 years old, were dynamited by the Taliban because they were idols and were believed to be an affront to God's law. I'm angry that little girls are getting their clitorises cut off because their parents' religion teaches it is necessary. And I'm angry that many people try to defend religion against the charge of female genital mutilation by saying, oh, but that's not what the religion really teaches. If you look at the original text, blah, 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 who gives a shit? I mean, the fact is that the Islamic religion, as it is actually widely believed and practiced, and not just Islam, but other religions in the region, as they are actually widely believed and practiced, teach that little girls need to have their clitorises cut off. And it enrages me that so many people react to this fact by defending the religion and not the children. I'm angry about honor killings. I'm angry that in Islamic theocracies, women who have sex outside marriage, women who date outside their religion, women who spend time with male friends, women who disobey their male relatives are executed. I'm angry that in Islamic theocracies, even women who have been raped can be and are executed for the crime of adultery. I'm angry that the ones who only get imprisoned and beaten are the ones who get off lucky. I'm angry that in Islamic theocracies, girls as young as 9 years old can be married against their will. I'm angry that when a 9-year-old girl in Brazil was raped, the doctors who performed an abortion on her and the family who approved the abortion were excommunicated. And I'm angry that there was no excommunication for the man who raped her. I'm angry that in 13 states in the United States, child care centers operated by religious organizations don't have to adhere to basic standards of health and safety and don't even have to be licensed. I'm angry that children in these child care centers have been harmed and have even died because of poor or non-existent staff training or in grossly unsafe conditions, and that the operators are immune from prosecution. I'm angry that seriously ill children needlessly suffer and die because their parents believe in faith healing or believe that medical treatment will anger their God. And I'm angry that in 39 states in the United States, these parents are protected from prosecution for child neglect. I'm angry about what happened to Galileo. Still. I realize that it happened in 1633. I'm still mad. And I'm angry that it took the Catholic Church until 1992 to apologize for it. And I'm angry that what happened to Galileo was, relatively speaking, a walk in the park. I'm angry that astronomer Giordano Bruno was burned at the stake for, among other things, advocating the position that the sun was simply one star among many. Let me spell that one out. For advocating scientific positions that were contrary to church doctrine, the man was tied to a stake in a public square, set fire to, and burned to death. Yeah, I'm a little mad. I get angry when advice columnists tell their troubled letter writers to talk to their priest or their minister and rabbi, when there's absolutely no legal requirement that a religious leader have any sort of professional training in counseling. And then when the fact that the advice that they offer isn't actually based on any evidence about what does and doesn't work in people's lives, it's based purely on what their religious doctrine tells them God wants. I get angry when religious leaders opportunistically use religion and people's trust and faith in religion to steal, cheat, lie, manipulate the political process, take sexual advantage of their followers, and generally speaking, behave like the scum of the earth. I get angry when it happens over and over and over again. I get angry at the fact that when you open up a newspaper and see the headline, religious leader behaves like a scum of the earth, we all shrug and say, oh, that again, what, it must be Wednesday. And I get angry when people see this happening and still say that atheism is bad, because without religion, people would have no basis for morality or ethics, and would just do whatever they want. My dad had a stroke and went into a nursing home. The staff asked my brother on intake, is he Baptist or Catholic? And I'm not just angry on behalf of my atheist dad. I'm angry on behalf of all the Jews and the Buddhists and the Muslims and the neo-pagans and the Hindus whose families were almost certainly asked that same question. You know, that question is enormously disrespectful, not just of my atheist dad, but of anybody who checked into that nursing home who was not Baptist or Catholic. I get angry when religious believers make arguments against atheism and make accusations against atheists without having bothered to talk to any atheists or read any atheist writing. I get angry when they trot out the same old atheism as a nihilistic philosophy with no joy or meaning and no basis for morality or ethics crap. When if they spent 10 minutes in the atheist blogosphere, if they bothered to use their Google, they would discover countless atheists who experience great joy and meaning in their life and are intensely concerned with right and wrong. I get angry when believers say that the entire unimaginable hugeness of the universe was made solely and specifically for human beings, when atheists, by contrast, say that humanity is pretty much an infinitesimal eye blink in the vastness of time and space, and then they accuse atheists of being arrogant. I get angry when believers argue against atheists by saying that we're intolerant, we're mean, we're superior, we're whiny, we're yes, angry, without actually making an argument for why we're wrong and they're right. I'm angry that I have to know more about their damn religion than they do. About the tenets and texts of their religion that are flatly untrue, and I have to correct them on it. I have better things to do with my time than spend all evening reading the frigging New Testament to make sure that, yes, in fact, Jesus does talk about the teaching of hell. You know, I could have been watching Project Runway that night. I get angry when believers treat any criticism of their religion, i.e. pointing out that their religion is a hypothesis about the world and asking it to stand up on its own in the marketplace of ideas, as insulting and bigoted. I get angry when believers accuse atheists of being intolerant for saying things like, I don't agree with you. I think you're mistaken about that. And what evidence do you have to support that position? I get angry when believers respond to some or all of this litany of offenses by saying, oh, well, that's not the true faith. You know, hating queers and rejecting science and stifling questions and dissent and cutting off people's clitorises and so on, that's not the true faith. People who do that, they're not real Christians, they're not real Jews, they're not real Muslims. As if they had a pipeline to God, as if they had any reason at all to think that they know for sure what God wants, that they know what true Christianity is, and that billions of others who disagree with them have just clearly got it wrong. I'm angry that when I wrote the piece on my blog about atheists and anger, I got comments telling me, quote, it's a pity your mother didn't have an abortion. I hope some guys bomb your house, bitch. Just kill yourself, Kay. Oh, and this is my favorite. What you need is to get laid, not with lesbian toys either. You need a strong man with some big junk and a strong will to set you straight. And for some reason, rape threats upset me more than death threats. I'm not sure why. I fucking hate every single person who posted here, and if there was some magical button that I could press which could annihilate your collective existence in an instant, I would push it 1,728 times. You're a fat, ugly whore. Your anger doesn't impress me. Go drink bleach. I'm angry that writing my atheist opinions, angry opinions, yes, but opinions where I was actually pretty careful to distinguish between criticizing behaviors and being insulting to people, on a blog that people are, I feel compelled to point out, free to read or not as they like, resulted in me fearing for my safety and my life. But perhaps most of all, I get angry, sputteringly, inarticulately, pulse-racingly angry, when believers chide atheists for being so angry. Why do you have to be so angry all the time? All that anger is so off-putting. If atheism is so great, then why are so many of you so angry? Because here's the other thing I'm angry about. All this anger I've been talking about today, this litany that I've been ranting about, this barely scratches the surface. I've touched on maybe 100th of everything about religion that pisses me off. I could write an entire book about everything that angers me about religion. Certainly other people have done that. And I could still not be finished. I could fill an encyclopedia with things about religion that piss me off. And I'm angry that all of this is true. And yet, atheist anger about religion is still assumed to be a sign. Not that there's something wrong with religion, but that there's something wrong with atheists. Okay, now, many people will hear this litany of grievances and will even agree with all or most of it. And they'll still defend religion against it. They'll still argue that these evils aren't religion's fault. They'll argue that people do terrible things to each other for all sorts of reasons, and that people come up with all sorts of rationalizations for the terrible things that they've done. And they'll have a point. Religion is very far from the only motivation for human evil, and it's very far from the only rationalization that people give for it. But I would argue that religion is unique. And I would argue that the things that make religion unique are also the things that make it uniquely capable of causing terrible harm. We have to agree here on a definition of religion, and we could really be here all day debating that point, but for the purposes of this talk, so that we don't have to be here debating this point all day, I'm going to stick with a very pragmatic definition of religion, based on how religion commonly plays out in the real world. Religion is the belief in supernatural entities or forces that have an effect on the natural world. Entities or forces that are invisible, inaudible, intangible, and otherwise undetectable by any natural means. We could debate whether that's really the best definition of religion, but for the purposes of this argument, when I say that religion is unique and uniquely capable of causing dreadful harm, that's the definition I'm using. It may not be the definition of religion for a handful of modern theologians who have essentially abstracted religion out of existence, but it is undeniably what religion means for the overwhelming number of people who believe in it. And here's why it is so uniquely capable of causing harm. Religion is a belief in invisible beings, inaudible voices, intangible entities, undetectable forces, and events and judgments that happen after we die. It therefore has no reality check. And it is therefore uniquely armored against criticism, questioning, and self-correction. It is uniquely armored against anything that might stop it from spinning into extreme absurdity, extreme denial of reality, and extreme grotesque immorality. This belief in unverifiable supernatural entities, the thing that uniquely defines religion, is exactly what cranks up its capacity to do harm to an alarmingly high degree, because there's no reality check. Any other ideology or philosophy or hypothesis about the world, it's eventually expected to pony up. You know, it's expected to prove itself true, or correct itself, or fall by the wayside. With religion, that is emphatically not the case. Because religion is a belief in the invisible and the unknowable, and it's therefore never expected to prove that it's right or even to show good evidence that it's right, its capacity to do harm can spin into the stratosphere.